Welcome to the Biz Gone Social podcast. We help entrepreneurs navigate how to get known, get customers, and get the edge over their competition. Here is your host, Lorraine Duncan.
So here we are on the Biz Gone Social podcast, and I'm so glad to be here. And my promise to you, as always, is I want to give you a little bit of verbal caffeine that's going to energize your business and your social media marketing and help you stay social. Because after all, don't you want to be the business that everyone's talking about? I know I do. And I'm so stoked today to have a very special guest, Chad Betz. And welcome, Chad.
Hi, Lorraine. Thanks a lot for having me today.
I'm really excited about this call. And why don't you just tell my audience a little bit about who you are, what you do, and who you serve?
Sure. So what I've done is I've written 2 books on how to succeed, specifically later in life. So what I do is I help people who are getting into their late 30s, 40s, 50s, up through 60s and beyond, realize that success does not have an expiration date, and they are able to succeed.
That's awesome. And do you find that you're finding a lot of people more than ever now compared to maybe a couple years ago? Or is it about the same, or is it more now?
I find it's getting younger. So it was before, when you start hitting 40, you're saying, oh, geez, maybe I missed the mark. We have people in their 20s and 30s who are believing that they've missed it, that they haven't had the opportunities to excel, so they won't have them in the future. So that's what I found, that it's not more per se, it's just gotten younger.
Yeah, I find that it's so funny, at least with me. I always say, when people ask me what I do, I tell them, but then I actually end it with, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, because I've done so many things. And, you know, we're told when we're brought up that, we have to go to college and get a degree. And to be honest, most people, like, I know I raised 4 kids, and none of them knew what they wanted to be when they were 17, 16 years old. So, they're deciding on this college, they're going after this degree program because maybe that's their strength. And I mean, I'm finding that most of the people who got a degree, for instance, in business aren't doing anything with business. Or if they got a degree in, medical, they're not doing medical. Or if they got a law degree, they're not doing law. I mean, are you finding that to be the truth?
Yes, and you had actually referenced 2 points that I find with people. The first one is that goals change as you get older. So what you wanted to do when you're 21 years old is not necessarily the same thing you want to do when you're 51 years old. So you have to acknowledge that and find that those new goals that will help you succeed. The other is, you were talking about the college degree. And a lot of times, the influencers around us, the people who push us to do things, decide what success means for us, rather than allowing us to find success for ourselves. Now, they don't mean to. They love us and they don't want us to have risk, but they push us towards things. A good example is a guy I know, very successful in accounting, business, employees, tons of bucks, hates accounting. He got into accounting because his parents said, if you get a degree in accounting, you will always have a job. And it was true. And he had that job, but now he's really looking for that next thing. What can I do to be satisfied? I've gotten some money, but I'm not fulfilled.
And I mean, that's interesting because I talk to so many people that have the same story, that there's, they have a great job, it's paying them a lot of money, but they're missing something. So when you work with them, like, what's the first thing that you do together? It's like, how do you help them find a passion that they're missing, or something that they're missing that can actually bring them into their next part of their life?
It's really self-reflection, and to foster that self-reflection, I help them through what I call the 20 goals exercise, what I asked them to do is to write out 20 goals, from mundane, just things you want to get done, all the way through to crazy. So things that you never thought that you would do. Now, I'll use myself as an example. When I had first done the exercise years ago, I had on there to be an author of a book as one of my crazy goals, something that I probably will never do. Now I'm on my second one. I found that crunching numbers is great, but helping people to find their next level is what satisfies me. So I can do one thing to pay the bills, and then what I'm talking about, the audience, you could do one thing to pay the bills, but also do that side thing that's satisfying. And hopefully in time, that side thing could supersede the daytime job so that you're working at exactly what you want. But even if you can't right now, because the idea of running off to your passions is great to think about, but passions don't pay the bills. So to be able to bifurcate your life, to have your daytime job, but also to have something that's beyond a hobby that is helping you get fulfilled.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I mean, I remember, that was my goal too. It's like when I said, when I grow up, I'm going to be an author. Never thought I'd be an author. I'm like, it was just a crazy goal. And I guess the statistics of most people who have that dream that they want to write a book never write a book. Mm-hmm. So it was to actually be one of those. I actually wrote a book, and it's so true. And then now it's the next one. I'm like a big goal setter, mm-hmm. and I love to set goals. And I decided this year is going to be different for me. I was only going to set one goal. That was it. I set one goal, and it was actually to get rest. And now you may think that's a crazy goal, but I felt like I've been on this treadmill for a very, very long time. And I knew that some things had to change in my life, and I figured rest would be the biggest part of it. Like, for instance, if I rested, I would have more focus during the day. If I went to sleep at a decent hour, I'd be more energized during the day. So anyways, I find that goals are very helpful, but then there's always those goals that you have that, oh, I never did that. Like, okay, want to hear one of my audacious, crazy goals?
Sure.
I'm a sports fanatic. And so one of my crazy goals is I would love to go to every single baseball park, mm-hmm. Just something crazy, because I love to travel. So it's like, and I think you need those things in your life. I mean, would you agree with that? I mean, you need some fun goals too.
I definitely. Life is for living, and you really need to have holistic goals. If money and business were really the only thing that life was all about, Ebenezer Scrooge would be our hero. So the idea, you mentioned rest as a goal. The problem we have as a society is we don't think rest is productive. We don't think recreation is productive. We think it's wasted time, and it's not. If you don't give yourself a chance to recharge, you're running on empty, and you won't be as productive, and you won't achieve those big, big goals, especially the ones you can't see the end of, because you'll be chasing your tail. Sometimes you need to sit back, you need to rest, either think about nothing or reflect on where you are, and then to move forward. So, I definitely think those are very, very important. You have to have a holistic view of life, not just single focus, because single focus burns you out. And that's why a lot of times in our careers, when we are our jobs, when someone asks you, hey, tell me about yourself, I am a whatever your job is, and it's full focus, and we get burnt out because we forget about our families, we forget about vacations, we forget about resting, we forget about reading. All those things that we can find fulfilling. So being single focused can burn yourself out. You really need to look at your whole life.
Yeah, I love that. That's like such good stuff. Recently, I'm online a lot, and I know you're online a lot, and that's how I met you. And I met you through LinkedIn. And so I've been seeing, and forgive me because I see so much comes at me during the day, but I've seen a couple of your videos, and I always find them to be very inspiring and true. How long have you been doing videos? Because I don't like I saw one day and I never had remembered you did a video before, but is that part of your marketing? Are you doing that all the time now? Or is it something you just wanted to try out?
Unfortunately, I'm not consistent. I've been doing them for years, but they're in fits and starts. What I've done, I'll do a series. So in a couple of years ago, I did a series of interviews with people of how to grow, like things like storytelling for interviews. The last one, just because I've been talking to a lot of people who are looking for a new job, what are the lessons we can gather from interview questions? Tell me about yourself. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? How do you handle multiple projects? All of those questions if you focus them on yourself, for yourself, can really tell you something that can make you see more about you as a person, so you're better able to achieve your goals. So yeah, I should be more consistent, but I do them in fits and starts, and usually in kind of series kind of ways.
Yeah, I mean, that's really, really important, and the consistency part. But I will say this, I love your videos because they're very real, and what you're talking about is like really, really important. And a lot of people need to hear it, and it's perfect for your audience on LinkedIn. So I just wanted to just say those have been really, really great. And I've enjoyed the ones that I've seen. So with that being said, we talk about what we do, and a lot of people think that we're pretty cool because we own our own business and everything. But like, what do you enjoy about being a business owner and owning your own business?
There's a few things. There's one is, there's a little bit of more freedom than the typical 9 to 5. So many people have actually experienced a little bit more of that freedom working from home. When during the pandemic, they got a feel for it that, it's like, if I'm not by my desk 100% of the time, I can actually be more productive. So being my own boss, I could set my own time. So with that, I'm able to work when I'm most productive. And then, get out and, to your point, do the rest, go for a walk, clear my head so that I'm fully fresh for the next thing. So like before this podcast, I took my dog for a walk. It's a beautiful day today. So I got out there, cleared my head of all the analytics and other things I did this morning, and now getting into this. So I'm fresh and I'm ready for you and your audience.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people say, is like they love the freedom, but with the freedom, there comes some challenges of opening, having a business and working from home. What would you say is your biggest challenge running your business?
You are the only person you can blame. You don't have a boss to say that, oh, geez, they cut my hours, or you don't have someone else is that you don't have coworkers that, oh, they didn't do their job. If your coworker didn't do their job, it's you, and you didn't do your job. So it's all on you. It's all responsibility, and it's pay to play. So it's, yes, I can walk the dog, but I didn't get paid to walk my dog. So that's, you have to think about that too. There are, more responsibilities. You're 100% reliant on you, and if you have employees, your employees, to bring home the bacon. You don't have that backdrop to rely on.
Absolutely. And I actually, as a business owner myself, I actually always am employee of the month. So that just makes it really great. But I do have somebody that works for me, and everybody says, oh, it's so great having somebody that works for you. But the problem is you always have to keep that person busy, and, and then there's training involved and everything else. And so it's like, then there's more headaches.
Right.
But I love the person that works for me. So it's been really, she's been working for me for about a year now. So that's been awesome. So if there was one piece of advice that you could give, so a lot of people, for instance, out there that are listening to this podcast are business owners. If there is one piece of advice that you could give them that would encourage them or help them move forward, what would that be?
Take steps towards your ideal life. It's unrealistic many times to go out and follow your passions right away. Quit your job, go move to the beach. I mean, that's nice to think about, but you can't, most people can't do that. So take steps towards what your ideal life is. Writing that book. If you're going to do that, if your goal is to write a book, get up early every morning and set time aside first thing in the day to write that book until your first draft is done. If you want to start a business, start a side gig. So you're working, but doing something on the side. So one, you get a flavor for the business and you build it up to a point where then you could be your own boss. Or other things. There's non-monetary things too that we all have goals for. Take steps towards those. Reflect on what you want, what your definition of success is, and take steps towards it, even if they're baby steps.
I love that. And really, we're the only ones that can define success for ourselves. I love
That's
the fact
exactly
that
right.
I wish I knew that years ago when I was parenting my kids, because instead of I was that parent that did the same thing that my parents did. You got to go to college. You got to do this. And it's like, it's kind of ingrained in you. So it's like, it's just a great way, just only like, I consider myself to be successful. Maybe other people don't, but you know what? I'm the one that's living my life, and, I have to do it on my terms. So it's like, great.
That's right. It doesn't matter what other people think about your success. They're just trying to influence you to do it their way. It's kind of like the kid who jumped off the garage into the pool. He wants everyone else to do it so he doesn't feel foolish. Don't let people pull you down. Follow your path to success. Absolutely.
I thank you. Thank you so much for just jumping on this podcast in the middle of your working day. And, I would love if anybody out there just resonates with you, Chad, just say a little bit about how they can get in touch with you. And then I'll put some links in the podcast and everything so that people can just click them. So tell us how they can get in touch with you.
Sure. Feel free to follow me on LinkedIn. I'll be able to, my contact information is there and you can see my contact, or chadcbetz@gmail.com is a good way to get me, my email.
Absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for being on my show. And until next week, everyone, I'll see you soon. Have a really great day and week. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Biz Gone Social podcast. Find us on Instagram @BizGoneSocial for extra tips. Check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, stay social.